In 1347, Delhi stood as the richest city in medieval India. A city overflowing with gold, silk, spices, and power. Massive stone walls surrounded Delhi, protecting hundreds of thousands of people living inside the Sultanate. The market stretched endlessly through crowded streets, overflowing with silver, Persian silk, and ivory from Africa. Merchants traveled thousands of miles to reach Delhi, bringing rare goods from distant kingdoms across the world. Camel caravans crossed dusty red roads beneath the burning Indian sun, carrying spices and precious cargo. Towering war elephants marched beside royal soldiers, their heavy footsteps shaking the earth beneath them. Enormous mosques echoed with prayers day and night, while the city remained alive without rest. Golden torchlight illuminated the Sultan's palace, glowing through the suffocating heat of the Indian night. To outsiders, Delhi looked eternal, untouchable, a city blessed with endless wealth and power. No one believed such a powerful city could ever collapse or disappear into darkness. But beneath the luxury and wealth, something dangerous was already growing within the crowded city. The rich lived inside enormous stone mansions, surrounded by servants, gardens, and pools of cool water. Meanwhile, ordinary families struggled to survive inside tiny clay houses packed tightly together. The heat inside the overcrowded homes became unbearable during the endless summer months. The narrow streets smelled of sewage, sweat, animal waste, and rotting garbage beneath the sun. Mud covered the roads after rainfall, mixing with filth flowing through the crowded neighborhoods. Disease spread easily through the slums, where thousands lived side by side without space or safety. No one realized the overcrowding itself would soon become the perfect breeding ground for death. Then nature itself seemed to turn against Delhi, bringing disaster from the skies above. The monsoon rains suddenly failed, leaving the land beneath Delhi dry and lifeless. Year after year, dark rain clouds never appeared above the burning fields surrounding the city. Fields slowly transformed into lifeless dust, unable to grow crops or feed the population. Rivers began disappearing beneath the relentless heat, shrinking smaller every passing month. Lakes became shallow pits of thick mud, surrounded by dead plants and dry earth. Wells emptied down to bare stone, leaving entire villages without drinking water or survival. Farmers watched helplessly as their harvest died beneath the brutal Indian sun. Livestock collapsed across barren land, too weak to continue searching for food or water. Dead animals rotted beneath the heat, filling the countryside with the smell of decay. Soon, food prices exploded throughout Delhi, creating panic inside the crowded markets. Bread became impossible for ordinary people to afford. Even after selling everything they owned, rice slowly vanished from the markets, leaving families desperate and terrified of starvation. The once crowded bazaars became violent, filled with desperation instead of trade and prosperity. People fought one another for scraps of food, attacking strangers in broad daylight. Robbery spread across the starving city, as survival became more important than law or morality. Violence erupted throughout Delhi, while fear consumed the population more every single day. Children starved beside the dusty roads, abandoned by a collapsing society unable to save them. Small bodies lay motionless beneath the burning sun, while crowds walked past in silence. Many families sold their own children, simply to receive a few sacks of barley and survive. Delhi had begun starving to death, while the city slowly descended deeper into chaos. But famine was only the beginning, because something far worse was approaching from the west. An invisible killer traveled toward Delhi, hidden among the trade routes of the medieval world. Ships arrived from Persia and Central Asia, carrying more than spices, silk, and silver. Something deadly traveled silently beside the merchants, hidden beyond human sight or understanding. Rats hid beneath sacks of grain inside crowded ships arriving at the city's ports and warehouses. Fleas carrying disease spread silently through caravans, marketplaces, and storage buildings. The plague entered Delhi unnoticed, spreading quietly through the crowded population without warning. At first, only a few people became sick, and nobody understood the danger approaching. High fevers spread through crowded neighborhoods, while victims weakened rapidly without explanation. People began coughing blood into the streets, terrifying everyone who witnessed the horrifying symptoms. Then terror consumed Delhi completely, as the plague spread faster across the crowded city. Black swellings appeared across human bodies, growing painfully beneath the skin of the infected. Necks became swollen and dark with infection, while victims struggled to breathe through the pain. Armpits and groins turned black and swollen, covered with signs of deadly disease. The infected burned with unbearable fever, shaking violently as their bodies slowly collapsed. Many vomited endlessly for days, unable to eat, drink, or even stand upright. Some victims died within only hours, collapsing suddenly before horrified crowds inside the streets. Others fell in the middle of crowded roads, bleeding heavily from mouths and noses. Entire families became infected together, trapped inside tiny homes filled with sickness and fear. Death spread into every district of Delhi, destroying rich and poor without mercy or discrimination. Physicians were powerless against the plague, unable to understand how the disease truly spread. Every treatment failed repeatedly, while more bodies continued appearing throughout the city every day. Prayers echoed through enormous mosques across Delhi as survivors begged desperately for mercy. But the death toll continued rising endlessly. Despite every prayer offered throughout the city, many believed the gods themselves were punishing Delhi for its greed, corruption, and sins. Fear spread faster than reason or truth, consuming every corner of the collapsing city. Some fled Delhi in complete terror, abandoning homes, families, and everything they once owned. Unknowingly, many survivors carried the plague farther north, spreading disaster across India. Soon, Delhi descended completely into hell, becoming almost unrecognizable from its former glory. The crowded markets suddenly fell silent, stripped of the noise that once filled the streets. The cries of merchants disappeared forever, replaced only by weeping and desperate prayers. Crows circled endlessly above empty roads, gathering wherever fresh bodies appeared beneath them. Carts filled with corpses rolled endlessly through Delhi, carrying the dead toward mass graves. Day after day, the number of dead continued rising beyond anything people could comprehend. Soon, there were no longer enough graves for the endless bodies filling the city. There were no longer enough workers, because death consumed nearly everyone left alive. Many died together behind closed doors, their bodies discovered only weeks later in silence. Many died together behind closed doors, their bodies discovered only weeks later in silence. The streets of Delhi became fields of death, covered with corpses abandoned beside the roads. Wild dogs fed on abandoned human bodies, roaming freely through the ruined city at night. The smell of death covered Delhi completely, drifting endlessly through every district and alley. Every road carried the scent of decay, reminding survivors that death waited everywhere around them. Then the empire itself began collapsing, weakened by starvation, plague, and endless fear. The Sultan's army lost countless soldiers, leaving the empire vulnerable to enemies and rebellion. There were not enough men left alive to defend the collapsing city against outside threats. Taxes stopped flowing into the royal treasury, draining wealth from the government each month. The royal administration weakened rapidly, losing control over large parts of the empire. Raiders appeared beyond the city walls, sensing weakness inside the once powerful sultanate. Rebels began rising across surrounding territories, believing the empire was finally dying. People slowly lost faith in their rulers, blaming them for failing to stop the disaster. Others lost faith in religion itself, questioning why the gods allowed such suffering to continue. If divine powers truly protected Delhi, why were hundreds of thousands still dying in agony? Fear consumed every corner of the city, destroying hope, trust, and human compassion. Survival became the only goal remaining, while morality slowly disappeared from daily life. But from the darkness and destruction, change slowly began emerging across the ruined city. A different Delhi was being born, shaped forever by suffering, fear, and survival. With so many dead, labor suddenly became valuable throughout the weakened medieval economy. Survivors demanded higher wages for work, because there were far fewer workers remaining alive. The balance of power slowly began shifting away from nobles and wealthy landowners. Farmers abandoned the lands of powerful elites, searching for better lives and opportunities elsewhere. Many survivors moved toward Delhi again, hoping to rebuild their futures after the catastrophe. The old social order weakened rapidly, while traditional systems slowly lost their authority. Powerful elites could no longer fully control society like they once had before the plague. Society itself began changing forever, transformed by years of suffering, famine, and death. Years passed slowly after the catastrophe, while Delhi struggled to recover from unimaginable loss. The city eventually began rebuilding itself, bringing life slowly back into the empty streets. Markets reopened across Delhi, while merchants gradually returned to ancient trade routes once again. Merchant caravans crossed the dusty roads once more, carrying goods between distant kingdoms. Trade slowly revived the economy, helping Delhi rise from the ruins left behind by disaster Delhi continued growing larger and wealthier, rebuilding itself into another powerful medieval city. But it was never truly the same Delhi again, because the scars of tragedy remained forever. The catastrophe destroyed an entire medieval empire, along with countless lives and ancient traditions. Yet from the ruins, a different society slowly emerged across the recovering city. People began questioning power, authority, and the rulers controlling their daily lives. Others questioned faith itself, wondering why suffering could destroy entire civilizations so easily. The plague permanently changed how people understood survival, fear, and human vulnerability. And centuries later, modern cities still carry the same terrifying fear that haunted Delhi. Because even today, civilization remains far more fragile than most people choose to believe. Just like Delhi in 1347, modern society depends on systems that can collapse without warning. And the same terrifying question still remains for humanity today. What happens when every system collapses at the same time?